Quand tu lances, je commence à parler, c'est ça? Hello everyone, it's a great pleasure to be with you today again for this second live session on the time to reorganize MOOC. So I'm Rudy Duran from HEC Paris, and today with us we have Vanessa, Francis, and Romain. So feel free to send your questions on the Facebook page or using whatever means you like. And so we start directly with some of the comments that we received from you. Vanessa? Vanessa, yes. So we'll do some feedbacks, then we'll take some of your questions, and we'll make some additional points as well at the end. So the overall feedback were very good, so thank you for the ones who actually voted for it. So we had great evaluations from those who rated the session. We had also some personal comments, the next slide, that are dear to our hearts because we worked quite a bit. So Stefan, for instance, thanks us for the learning experience and for blending different ways of learning in a very convenient tool, so thank you. And we go also directly to maybe some of the issues or problems there was with some questions. So especially in the week 3, in this quiz that I was using Moneyball story, you remember maybe the Oakland Athletics story and how they actually were capable of winning the championship by using what is called now sabermetrics. And what we were expecting here was actually the 3 answers together, meaning how they were getting a temporary advantage. But the problem is that it was only temporary because the Red Sox, for instance, and other teams imitated them. Our temporary advantage can be gained through the transfer of practice from other sectors because they used techniques from econometrics that we are using in some other sectors. And it is an example of the capacity of an underdog organization to innovate successfully and win over its rivals. So we're expecting the 3 answers together. We had also another maybe difficulty with week 4 quiz, a question which was the iPhone example in 2008 that we chose to illustrate the surf the wave, and maybe this example could be improved for the future versions of this MOOC, since only 23% of you actually got the answer right the first time and 50% the second time. So maybe we have to use a different example. We also received some questions from you. We'd like just to discuss. Just before we go with the question, let me show again the different matrices. So you saw here very briefly the engage, then you have the resist and the rearrange. So what I would like to say here is that these different dimensions that you can find are not fixed in a sense. I mean, that you could work depending on your own experience, your own situation. You could work around these ideas. So for instance, for engage, it means that the logic of actions followed by the organization could be a low risk, high risk, versus the risk of the organization could be low or high, but you could use maybe another term. Risk on organization could be a danger, or could be, you could specify the type of risk, reputational risk, operational risk. So I mean by that depending on your own situation or function, you can really play with the different dimensions. Another thing that you notice probably is that engage and resist are related to the organization and its situation. I mean by that here for resist, you have logics followed by the organization. So it's the family logic, the community logic, the for-profit logic, market logic, and you have a question which is what is inappropriate with the organization, its ends or its means. As for the former one, engage, this is at the level of the organization, and your impression, your perception of what the organization is doing, is following as a logic, is doing, is pursuing as a goal, and is doing as a means. Whereas the last one is slightly different because it's rearranged. And I would say here, the core character for the third matrix is you, basically, okay? The two questions are asked to you. I mean, durability of my co-organization. So, assuming that maybe, I mean, very likely so, I mean, the co-organization for you is where you work. It could be your own firm. It could be the firm within which you work. And the second dimension is core versus other membership or attachments, meaning that, okay, you're an individual within an organization, an NGO, an association, a club, whatever. So, but you have other attachments, other organizations to which you belong or to which you are related. And the question here is, hey, for you, do you feel that this connection between these other attachments and your main attachment is coherent? If you are in a really for-profit organization with quarterly results and bottom line implications, and at the same time, member of a sport club or association to help illiterate, for instance, do you feel that you make sense of all these different belongings? There is no real right or wrong answer. I mean, some people actually feel very well and very good at doing these multiple things, whereas for some others, it could be a bit attention to reconcile the different objectives, the bottom line of the main organization that provides financial support through salaries and wages, with the other organizations. So therefore here the question is more at your level. This question is for you more closely. And again, you can play a bit with these dimensions, with these axes, to apply them more to your own case. I'm saying this because you will see that we have actually a question from you guys that relates to this point. So let's go, Vanessa, with the next slide, where we have some questions from the forum. So it's Pam asking, really, as you studied industries with codified structures, how do they deal with innovation? In other words, where will you classify innovation in your logics? Is it an exclusive manifestation of the logic of the market? So here I would say no. I mean, it's not an exclusive manifestation of the logic of the market, although for the logic of market, innovation is clearly what gives an advantage of an organization over the others, the firm over the others. And therefore, whereas for organizations following the other logics, innovation is a condition for improving their functioning. You know, family firms today or family organizations today are not run and managed as they were 100 years ago. Or if you take the example of NGOs, of course, I mean, or associations, they innovate, they benefit from innovation, from technical innovation, for benefit from being related to their members much more closely than they were before. So innovation exists there as well. But I would say for firms where the pressure of competition is so dramatic, it becomes a key factor for them to survive and to thrive and survive. So therefore, innovation in that sense is a key feature. It's a necessary feature for organization following the logic of the market. whereas for the others, it is one condition that makes them improve on what they're doing, on providing solutions, of generating products and solutions that satisfy, that respond to a problem, that address a problem and satisfy some of their members. But it's not the main condition for their existence and survival. So then we had another question, which is in week 4, Rodolphe talks about how management matters in shaping an organization in public space. While this is true, what approach should management organization take to be effective, inside or outside in, or do they need to take both? What I mean by inside out or outside in is the inside out approach is guided by the belief that the inner strengths and capabilities of the organization will make the organization prevail. The outside in approach is instead guided by the belief that the customer value creation, customer orientation, and customer experience are key to success. So for sure, the two approaches are necessary. If you just use the outside-in approach, that means that you study the competitive landscape, you study where the other organizations are positioned and the way the industry, for instance, or the field is structured, and you acknowledge the fact that perhaps you are in a corner in this market, or not central, or that your position is not well protected enough. So you will identify the spot in this landscape where you should be located. Okay, so that's why you observe certain firms that actually divest some assets, invest in some others, just to reposition themselves in what we call the value chain, the value system where the value is created and appropriated. Examples of all the automakers having their own financial services to finance, help finance, and sell credits to auto buyers. But if you don't add to this outside-in analysis the inside-out analysis, you may just simply formulate a strategy or that will not be achievable for your organization. So the two dimensions are completely essential. There's a way just really to summarize that is the outside-in approach is what an organization might do, whereas, or should do, whereas for the inside out is what a firm or an organization can do. And it's the conjunction of the two that make a strategy to be executable and possible, implementable, and some organization to succeed very well. By the same token, if you just use inside-out approach, well, you may innovate, to take the example that or the notion we took just before, but in a void. In a sense, you may generate very nice products, very good services, but in a space in the market that is almost empty, or for which there is little interest from your audiences, from your clients, customers, members, depending on the type of organization we're talking about. So the next question is, how do the three vectors of action, engage, resist, rearrange, relate to each other? How do the individual's actions following the three vectors of action relate to each other? Are they independent vectors? Are they mostly sequential and in their pertinent occurrence, or mostly concurrent parallel? And GRR actually goes forward saying that what he is seeing like a cycle, saying that first you engage, then you resist, and then you rearrange. Well, I'm not against this view. I mean, this could be perfectly possible, that actually you move through the three phases. My original idea was just to present different situations without connecting them in a temporal, in a chronological order. But I think it makes sense, although sometimes you will move directly to the resist phase, or other times because you don't feel at odds with what the organization is doing, with the logic itself. You are, for instance, I don't know, civil servant and working in administration, public administration, and you feel comfortable with that and you don't want to change. But you will rearrange your other organizational memberships because you feel some of them not very coherent with what you are doing. So I do not exclude at all what GR is suggesting. I'm just saying that there is no imperative either, just to put them in a chronological order. And so there is another question from May. Is it possible to have a good example of refocus in rearrange organizations? So Vanessa, could we go back to actually the matrices just to show focus again here, the refocus? Okay, so refocus, that's true that in the presentation in week 4 we did not really give an example of that one, or very rapidly. So refocus means that actually your organization, the durability of your core organization is at risk, and that your core membership versus the other membership that you have high. So here maybe I would take the example of 1 year ago, 3 years ago. I mean, the automotive automaker Peugeot was facing, in France, was facing a very difficult situation. The organization was at risk. And what happened was that they had to really stop some alliances and really actually divest from some plants in France. And so the durability of the core organization was quite at risk. So for people within this firm, the question was, well, and if you were part of these divisions, I mean, what should I do? I mean, as an individual, when the different other membership that I may have could become more important for me than actually being in basically a stress plan in a firm that is not going so well, not doing so well. And so here it's an example of a situation where you have to decide whether to stay in this organization, to refocus your belongings. You say, okay, so I will stay with the firm and I will invest, all my time and energy and actually sever some other organizational memberships. Or you could decide the other way around, saying that, well, I don't see my future in this firm anymore, and what I would like just to do is actually to refocus my membership, taking a plan, for instance, and using this this money just to do different things, to invest in your own organization, to be member of an association, to try to receive some training and do something else. So that could be one example, for instance, of refocus. But again, at this stage, for this matrix, it's the you as an individual who needs to rearrange, basically reorder your priorities, your organizational memberships, your attachments. That is, yeah, it's you who is core to this analysis. Okay, so let's go back to the questions. So I think, so haven't we received some questions? No, not yet. Guys, feel free just to send your question, because we are actually basically reaching the end of the slideshow. Let me go to the next one. Vanessa, if you can, I think that there is some information to give you. Okay, So as we wait for maybe a few questions, so it's not the end yet. Although you went over the 4 weeks of the video. It's still time to submit your peer assessment number 2. You worked on your peer assessment number 1, and now it's time maybe to complement it. So therefore, that means that you can complement this peer assessment number 1 with the use of one of the different matrices. And as well, please don't forget to evaluate your peers, as many of you actually need to have these kind of evaluations to get their certificate. Okay, so at that point we don't have any questions. So in any case, feel free just to send them to the Facebook page, either on what we just said today or other questions related to the watching the videos or reading the readings and having questions when you do that. So thank you. It was shorter than usual. Thank you very much for your attention, and enjoy the rest of the MOOC sessions. Bye bye.